At 22 years old, I bought my first house. I have never had any experience working with real estate or purchasing properties before, and this was my first experience. And I did all of this at the ripe age of 22. So in this video, I'm just gonna be talking about that process and everything that I did in order to purchase the house and everything else. So let's get into it. I think the most important part of this is why. Well, to answer the most obvious question, it's because I wanted it. But for more serious stuff, renting alone, at least in my area, renting was extremely costly. I mean, we personally were paying about almost $2,000 a month just to rent, and we only did it for a few months because I was looking at those transactions every single month, and I was just made me want to throw up because that $2,000 was not doing anything for me at all. Versus buying a property, you know, I can get equity into that property, I can fix it up, I can make it my own. And the big thing was freaking landlords, man. Hated having to have a landlord. I hated having to someone tell me what I can and can't do. Our landlord we had was someone in the family that we knew, but even dealing with them was kind of annoying. I mean, there was a situation where we weren't even allowed to put holes in the wall as far as like nails. Like we couldn't put up anything in the walls, like for photos or anything like that. It was kind of ridiculous. So we had to answer that. We just had bad experiences with renting. It costed a lot of money, and it just got to the point where it's like, why are we doing this to ourselves and wasting all this money when we can buy a property, invest into the property, build equity into the property, fix it up, and you know, stuff like that. Another important thing to think about is kind of where this all started. So obviously it got really amplified when we were renting because, you know, I felt like it wasn't worth my time or money. It wasn't doing anything for me. But even before that, you know, I've always kind of worked as long as I can remember. I've always been pretty good with my money. Like how this process started was just good financial decisions throughout my early adult life and teenage life. I had good role models who kind of told me the importance of saving money and, you know, just how that stuff works. But I also made bad financial decisions along the way, you know, learning as I go sometimes. But I've kind of always wanted this. It was kind of always the dream. So I kind of always had that motivation to save money and to be, you know, at least smart with it to an extent. So fast forward, we rent the apartment. I'm noticing all that money that's not working for me. It made me sick. I absolutely hated the fact that I was doing all this work, you know, spending all this money on rent, and it was just going in my pocket and out my pocket, and I never saw the value in that. You know, even before I rented, I kind of understood that principle that it's not going to do anything for me other than have a place to live. So, like I said, I saved and I saved. And when it came to buying the house, we are currently in a fixer-upper. I've been walking around the property in these videos, so you can probably see like the garage is pretty messy. Our backyard's a little crazy. If you've seen some background stuff, you know, the whole point of doing these is so that you guys can see the progress and the work that we're about to be doing and everything like that. So like I was saying, fast forwarding, we are in the house now, like I said, working on stuff, and I'm going to be sharing everything that we're doing. I'm going to do a breakdown of stuff that we're working on, time lapses of stuff. You've probably seen it in this background. There's a spot right here. It's pretty rough. We've only been here for a few months, so we're trying to work on a few things. I'll start showing some stuff and some shorts and stuff like that. So yeah. So I was like, it was substantial, so $240. So that's quite a difference. And with land and everything else, I saw that as an opportunity and maybe even a permanent house for us. I'm still not entirely sure on that just yet. We get here, we look at it, we look into it with him. You know, he shows us around, he tells us everything that's wrong with it, extremely transparent. And we were just like, you know what? This sounds like a really good opportunity, and it just sounded like a good choice, you know, for me and my fiance to start our big journey into adulthood. This was kind of like a big adulting moment for us, was purchasing a house, because this is a very long-term investment. kind of situation. So we bought it. We so far are happy with that choice. But of course, you know, there has been growing pains and frustrations buying a property, a lot of things I wasn't aware of, and I'm going to share all those. Hey guys, it's Future Jack here. Real quick, just wanted to apologize for the next few clips. Camera messed up, it like zoomed in. I guess I must have touched it wrong or something, so sorry about that. Just wanted to clear that up. Well, and speaking of all those issues and everything else that was going on, let's talk about those. Well, my first impressions, like I was specifying, I did really like the property. I still do, but it just had a lot of work. It's an old house. It was built in the 1800s. It's got a lot going on. When we first moved in, I immediately, well, even before, I knew I'd have to replace a lot of stuff. The bathroom there, it's super dated. It was gross, and the carpet was disgusting. When I pulled it out, there was piss stains, and it smelled like piss. It was just extremely gross. It looked like it'd been in there for at least 20 years. It just wasn't good. And it's not necessarily shade on the owner. That was just one of the things they didn't get to. They were remodeling, upgrading the other parts of the house, and that was just something that didn't get done yet. Well, I'm going to show some more video showing you what the current progress is on that bathroom. We are not done with it yet, but I put vinyl flooring in there. We upgraded the vanity and the lighting in there. I still have to do the exhaust fan by the shower. Still got to upgrade that, pull it out, clean it. It probably needs cleaned really bad. And yeah. And some other weird stuff. So the washer and dryer was the washer and dryer was in the kitchen, which I was just like, what is going on? Why is this like this? Well, that was just where it was ran when the house was, you know, redone. So I was like, whatever. I went in there, fixed it. We got it downstairs. I'll show a picture of that on screen as well. It's kind of ratchet rigged, but it works. And we did it up to code. So we put the washer and dryer, ran the PEX lines, you know, where they need to go. But we got a utility sink, and we drained the washer into the utility sink instead, because I just didn't want to do all that extra stuff. So I just have it doing that. And then I did it up to code in case we ever sell. So I have a little pump right beside it. It shoots it out, gravity pump goes up, shoots it into the sump pump that we have. So yeah, we did that too. That was a big change because it took up so much space in the kitchen. Now we have like this weird spot, but I'll show a picture of the kitchen as well right now. Actually, 2 of the basement joists are broken right now. So a video on that too, showcasing how I'm gonna fix those and what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be kind of scary. I hope I don't do crazy damage to that. It's always a risk just because of where it's at. But finally, we have the bedroom. Bedroom's not too bad. It's already got like this thick carpet. We're probably not gonna get rid of it. The bedroom is just weird. It used to be a garage and was transformed into a bedroom. So it's got like this weird staircase thing. You kind of walk into it kind of. It's a little strange. We haven't done much work with that. We're still painting the walls in the living room and stuff. Living room, we're gonna replace all the flooring and do all the, you know, the basic upgrades and stuff, painting, doing flooring, painting trim, painting cabinets, redoing the kitchen and stuff like that. And then getting a new dishwasher, you know, just general home improvement. I guess I could have just said that instead of saying all that stuff. So we're just gonna be doing some general home improvement, make it our own, and make it a place that would be comfortable to live in. And let's talk about buying. So buying was pretty straightforward as well. It was not hard. We knew someone who worked for a mortgage company, so we just reached out to them. They gave us some advice. We ended up working with them. It was pretty straightforward. Got credit checks pulled, and, you know, debt to income kind of sort of thing was looked at, and we qualified for up to $350,000. Doesn't mean we needed that much, but it was nice to know where our ceiling was at. So, you know, we just kept finding houses, looking at them. We found a lot of good houses, a really bad house. We did an inspection on it, and we thought it was nice, and we did an inspection, and it turned out to be a walking disaster. There was a lot of issues. They sealed the basement. There was an issue with the roof. They put 2 roofs on top of each other instead of fixing it properly. They just did a lot of weird stuff. And we wasted money on it because we had to pay for an inspection that was $500. And we thought, you know, it's worth it if we really want this house. So we got the inspection, and like I said, it was really bad. So that was $500 we were down the drain, but it was good to know. So we left that house that we were working with, you know, and we just kept looking and looking. And obviously, like I said before, the past owner, I worked with him in the school system, and it just sort of fell into place after that. So we did that, and now we're here. I didn't really look at too much houses before. I looked at 3 other ones. That was about it. So we closed in December 2025. We moved in right before a bad snowstorm. So I moved in and then was stuck here for almost like 2 weeks. I couldn't go anywhere because it was so bad. I was actually blocked in, and the snow kept freezing, so I couldn't even shovel it. And it was a nightmare. So there's so much I can keep going on and on about, but I think one of the last things I want to talk about is just mistakes and things that I learned. So if I could go back, I'd do a few things a little bit smarter. If I could have, I would have maybe waited a little bit longer, had a little bit more money to put down. We didn't put enough down, so we have PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, but we don't have to worry about it too much, as we're not going to have it for super long. But I just wish I would have just saved a little bit more just to hit that mark, so I wouldn't have had to worry about it, because it does add a little bit on top of your mortgage if you do escrow, which is what we're doing. That just made the most sense for us. So we're doing a conventional 30-year. We do not plan to pay off. We will move, I think, at some point. I think that's where we're focusing at, is we will probably move at some point. It probably won't be in a few years or something like that, but I think down the line, I do not think this is a permanent house, just because of all the problems that it's got. It's got growing pains. It's going to have even more come, 10 years down the line. But regardless, I appreciate you guys watching this video. The next video is going to be a few things. Just so you guys are aware, I'm going to do some videos on our flower bed. Our flower bed is really bad. I'm going to show a video of it right now on the screen so you can see it. As you can see, it is extremely rough. When we moved in, we literally had no time to do anything, not even mow or do anything. So things just got out of hand really quick. The flower bed was already kind of rough when we moved in, and it just kind of got worse, especially with the hot summer, constantly raining and stuff. It was just asking for it. So we're going to be doing a flower bed transformation video. I'm going to do time lapse. I'm going to prop my phone up so you guys can watch me work on it, speed it up, show day one, how many days it's going to take and how much money it costs, so you guys can maybe do something similar at your own property. But yeah, it's going to be fun, and I think you guys will enjoy it. And just a few other things, like, as you've seen in our videos, we do have 2 goats. I'm going to do some content with them, I think. Maybe just playing with them or something, or something. We mow inside of there, so I'll do some content around that if you're interested. And yeah, so all kinds of stuff coming. I'm not going to spoil much. I will tell you about the flower bed. Obviously, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to suck. It's going to be hot. It's going to be time consuming, but it'll be fun. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, maybe leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day, guys.